The value of any high-growth company is derived mainly from the intellectual property asset that it owns. IP strategy is about implementing processes that will help an organization to exploit and use its intellectual property assets to create value for the organization. Now, implementing a successful IP strategy, it is required, there's a big need that is aligned with the business goals of the organization. And that's why we require input from all the business units. At a very high level, IP strategy has three main pillars. The first one is IP creation, where we identify the core innovations and we convert them into intellectual property assets by using, for example, patents or trademarks. The second one is IP management, where we manage the IP assets we own, but also the ones that we use in our products in order to mitigate any commercial IP risks. And the third one is IP exploitation. And this is where we make strategic decisions on how to use our intellectual property assets to expand our market position and market share and create a revenue for the organization. Now, all this might sound a little bit complicated, but actually it comes down to three key principles. The first one is a top-down approach. So we need the sponsorship of the organization, of the top management and the budget. The second one is we need to implement an IP strategy team that has different functions and different expertise. And of course, we need to include an external IP advisor where it is necessary. And the third one is where this IP strategy team implements and monitors the processes in place and regularly reviews them to see if they are still relevant for the organization. So IP strategy is not complicated. We just need to make the beginning. Protecting innovative ideas requires a well-thought-out review process. It's what we call an IP review board that usually consists of people from the different factions within the organization. During the IP board, what we do is that we review the innovations submitted and we decide whether to protect them or not. Actually, what we are looking for is to see if they have any commercial value for the organization. The IP review process, it is owned by one member of the IP strategy team. This is the person that goes back and forth between the innovation department and the IP board to decide what ideas should be submitted and what will happen afterwards. So this is the main process that I would say is required for protective innovative ideas. Selecting the right type of protection for an innovation, it actually comes down to the nature of the innovation itself and its commercial value. Sometimes it is best that we ask a qualified expert to decide and to actually help us decide on how to protect it. For example, a patent attorney. To give you a rough example, when we try to protect an innovation that is core to a product, then in most cases it's best if we go for a patent. However, if we're talking for an algorithm that sits at the back end of the process and it requires confidential information for someone to replicate its functionality, then of course it's best if we keep it as a trade secret. So there are different ways of protecting core innovation within an SME organization. In an IP strategy project, you need to have people with different skills and expertise. However, they need to share some common characteristics, such as they know the value of innovation and the role of IP, they understand the company's product and its roadmap, and they have a sense of the competition. At the end, you need to have people that can influence the culture of your organization. For an SME, an external expert will be a valuable resource. Usually, I would recommend that to have a patent attorney that can understand your business and has the right technical expertise to guide you through the selection of the right IP protection for your innovation. Of course, with that, we need to consider other aspects of the company, like, for example, the brand, where we will need a trademark attorney, or if we have assets that we want to exploit, then we need to go for a licensing expert. So these, I would say, are the three main expertise that I will include in any IP strategy project.